So a few things I want to highlight. The first thing is parents right here is the first contention. And then it has this is the information from that contention. So I take the name of the contention, I draw a box around it, and that's where that debate is going to happen. So notice how I lined up the refutation right next to it. So the next column over is red. That's the first opposition. They said, I have two responses to the parents' contention. First, blah, 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 blah. Second, blah, 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 blah. And then onto their mental health and physical health contention. I have two responses here. One, two. And then they went down to I'm trying to think. Then they went down to the opposition case and they said, here's my first contention. Here's my second contention. For the second proposition, right? So here's second proposition, rebuilding. They responded to this first argument. That X is there because they failed to respond to that second argument. And then you can see the second opposition extended that second argument and they were like, hey, they don't respond to this. Yeah, Will?
Is it hard to judge that which team won in high level debate?
So typically there are a few things that determine who wins a debate. And this is a good question. So knowing the difference between offense and defense is really important because offense is what wins you debates. Offense says my side is more important. There are more good things that happen on my side of the debate. So that's the first thing that judges usually look at is what is the weighing in the debate. What I also look at, though, is even if a team has really good weighing in the debate, if that analysis was not in every speech of the debate, that can affect my ability to grant them those arguments. I also will look at, if your opponent is going for an argument to take out your case and you never responded to that argument, I will give them full weight of that argument. So it's a very technical decision. I don't look at debates and go, oh, I feel like this team did better. I'm really looking at, okay, like which team engaged in more clash, framed the debate better, right? And so like framing, being able to say, this is why we win is much easier if you're responding to every part of the debate. So like here, notice how all of the refutation is numbered. That allows me to identify the game pieces on the board. What I want you all to do, it's not in this presentation. I teach at the next level up, but there's a thing called debating from the flow. And so whenever you all are writing refutation and rebuilding, you should be writing it on your flow. So if I were the first opposition here, I would be writing down what proposition is saying. And then real quick during their speech, I would switch to my pen and I would write down my refutation. And then I'll switch back over to the prop pen and keep writing what they're saying. But that's how I had to debate whenever I did policy debate. It was very quick, like thinking of a quick response, writing it down, going back to my other pen, writing what they're saying, switch, go back to writing what your response is. That's debating from the flow. And so if you all are writing your refutation or you're rebuilding your responses to what your opponent is saying on a different sheet of paper, it's like you're separating the debate. So that's going to be kind of like the next level. As long as you're keeping track of where everything is on the flow, though, that's good. So yeah, as long as you have a strategy for that, Danny, you might change it over time just to kind of adapt. But knowing where the pieces are on the flow is good. Main thing I want to identify is find a way to highlight where your contentions are, line the arguments up next to each other, and write your arguments on your flow instead of like on your document where your arguments are, where your like contentions are. All right. This is tables. I do not recommend that you all flow digitally. Like I will today, for the sake of being able to throw my flow on the screen very quickly during the debate. But whenever I've used tables in the past, sometimes it adds extra cells. It'll duplicate cells. It makes it hard to jump around. So I also recommend you using paper because in impromptu formats, you're just not allowed electronics. So it's best to just like get used to using paper and pen. Also, like, paper and pen can't crash during the debate. So like if you're doing an in-person debate and like, your computer crashes, you'll still have your flow. You can still win. But yeah, same thing, right? Everything's lined up. If you'll notice the second contention down here on safety issues, first proposition said safety issues. First opposition did not respond. Second proposition didn't point it out. And then the second opposition also just still didn't say anything about it, which it's dead already. So there's no point in him doing that. And so this is actually not something that they could weigh at the end of the debate because it was just something that disappeared earlier in the debate.